And welcome back. It's now 12 minutes past 7 a.m. Let's take a look at what we have on today's Viewpoint. And we have got so much that we need to talk about in the next 1 hour or so. So stay with us. In today, I have got Wilson Sossion, who is a former KNUT Secretary General. He's a man of many titles. All right? Yes. Former. Karibu sana.
Don't be shy to say CAS.
You're a man of many titles. I'm afraid that you might have like almost 10 minutes going back to your CV and the titles. Welcome to the program. Good to see you. Senator Tabitha Mutinda, karibu sana.
Thank you.
As
well as Mudenyo Wilberforce, who is representing the great people of Funyula constituency. Karibuni sana.
Asante sana.
Let me start with the front page of the daily local dailies very fast. On the front page of the Daily Nation, smart or reckless. That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Smart or reckless, a president's wrath. Now, this one is in relation to what President William Ruto said. The President William Ruto is a man on a mission to deliver on his campaign promises and expectations of many Kenyans hoping to break from the high cost of living. But even as he sets out to crush rampant cartels and revive the ailing sugar sector, his recent broadside of the ownership of Mumias Sugar Company has stirred up a storm. That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Quickly, tough times as Kenyans withdraw 30.8 billion shilling savings from SACCO. The SACCO Society's regulatory authorities figures showed that the withdrawable deposits, also known as forced savings, which are usually held by SACCOs and demand deposits, fell by 26.9%. To 83.78 billion shillings from 114 billion shillings. So Kenyans withdrew 30.8 billion shillings. MPs now plot to unplug Kenya power monopoly. Last week we also what happened, almost 48 hours in blackout. Consumers will now have a choice to buy electricity tokens directly from either independent power producers or Kenya Power if MPs approve a proposal contained in a report of a parliamentary committee in a bid to tame the utility firm's monopoly. That is according to the National Assembly. We are waiting to see how that will go. Let me start with you, Mheshimiwa Mudenyo. The president was in your backyard, smart or reckless? I don't know why you're here. And you have everybody around you. Your neighborhood is rich this time around.
Well, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here because I've been invited to come here. Anyway, good morning, Kenyans, wherever you are. It's good to interact with you again.
Right.
Looking at the top page of the Nation Today newspaper, I would rather say it is President's remarks were unfortunate, reckless, scaremongering, unfortunate, and unnecessary. It did not have to go that way. In a country that prides itself is the rule of law, a constitutionally run country, it was extremely unfortunate, unfair, unnecessary, and indeed that scares everybody. We must respect the courts of law. We must respect individual rights to seek redress in any place whenever you feel aggrieved, and what the president said was really unfortunate. And we are actually asking him to withdraw those statements and generally, assure Kenyans that we are a law-abiding country. We will abide by the law. If somebody is aggrieved and wants to go to court, let him go to court and get redress.
All right. He said that he needs all those court cases to be withdrawn. Senator Mutinda, on the front page of this Daily Nation, smart or reckless?
Thank you for having us this great morning. And I would say that, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And the president is not reckless at all because no one is immortal, Victor. And so no one has the path, either you, me, the president, anybody. No one has the path or the map to heaven. So trying to indicate that he was trying to bring a narrative of death issues and all that, then who's going to live in this world forever? One day we will also go down, but it was not in his perspective to mean that anybody has a map for anybody to the direction to heaven. So this is how the opposition and they want to look at things negatively so much in terms of what we do. They don't want to prospect in terms of the developments that we are focusing on in this, especially in the regions that the president has been focusing on. As much as we did not get so many votes in these particular regions, but we are, focusing as a country in general, because we are all Kenyans. And so you find that there's so much trying to narrow in terms of negativity, in terms of what the president comes out and says. They do not focus on what is positive, what he says. They try to smash and squeeze what he tries to say and make it look so negative. Nobody is going to be in this world forever. Yeah. And so these cartels who are in place should be able to adhere to what the government wants to focus on for the benefit of also this government and the people of this government. And I'm happy when you asked my colleague Mheshimiwa, why are you not in this region? Because everybody in this region focusing on the developments for the Kenyans that we do represent. Because as Kenya Kwanza, we are cutting across all board. You've seen that. I think this is his 4th day in the Western region, focusing on bringing development. And one of the key issues that comes to light so much is the issue of the of sugar, which we have farmers who have invested so much. So how do we empower these farmers? How do we improve this farm? We have to get to the bottom of things. And the president is bold enough to be able to look at these issues, not for his own interest, but for the interest of the people of Western. Yes,
all right. Mheshimiwa Sossion, at the end of the day, the sugar industry has to be revived. Look at the industries that have failed. Leave alone even Mumias. Sony Sugar, we have got Kibos.
Why have they failed?
Them.
Why have they failed? And when you talk of cartels, cartels have ruined the production sector of the economy in this country, ranging from sugar industry by importing cheap sugar and packaging them with packaging materials in the names of our local factories, and therefore killing our local farmers. We've seen even we are importing fish from China, we are importing maize from Mexico to come and kill the local farmers, we are importing milk from Uganda to kill the local industries. And I think the president was candid. This is what you call a candid talk and candid statements from the president. He was not reckless, and I think he should even go a step further. If we want to eliminate corruption and remove cartels in this country, you don't do it with kids' gloves. Take them head on properly. And the president has been interacting with the sugarcane farmers. You saw he visited Nzoia Sugar Factory. He was not on. He was not a social tourist at the factory. I am sure he must have been internalizing and understanding the challenges of sugarcane farmers. If you overfly Mumia's sugar company, you don't see a factory. You see rotting buildings, literally rotting buildings. And when you talk of reviving the sugarcane industry, it will take a lot. You must deal with the cartels and godfathers of the cartels. And Mheshimiwa here should accept that these cartels have been sponsors of their political arrangement. And so they should not misuse you to try and protect them again. If it is getting rid of cartels in this country, let us get rid of this cartel so that we allow the sugarcane farmers, the hardworking Kenyans, to grow sugar cane and live gainful lives from sugarcane farming. Kenya alone, for sugar industry, if you look at it in terms of requirements, we are producing 400 million metric tons, and the requirement is 1.2 million metric tons. The other gap is left for these sugar cartels who are cheating, that they are manufacturing, the wet sugar company, whatever else, and all these private investors. Why have they suddenly taken over and they're making profits and our local factories are collapsing? They are being used to import sugar from outside. Most of the sugar that is consumed is brought from out of this country by these cartels. If you read the plan of Kenya Kwanza, one item was dealing with state capture. And this state capture has destroyed agriculture completely. And you've seen, there was a conference on coffee sector. And a lot of issues came out from coffee, including cartels in the marketing of coffee. And those ones have been eliminated very deliberately. There were cartels in the sugar sector within the KTDA. Those ones are being eliminated. Now, milk sector is also being corrected surgically. And for the last 1 week, believe you me, the president is very keen in reviving the sugar industry and getting all the factories back to working. And the factories that belong to the people of Kenya should belong to the people of Kenya. It cannot be taken over by private individuals in the name of PPP investors. This is what has destroyed. And I think the words used by the president are clear. These criminals must go to jail. And
get out of the country.
Yes, they must go to jail.
Go to heaven.
They're going to heaven. That's almost the same thing that's on the front page.
Going to heaven means you go sleep in jail until you go to heaven. That's a fact. We don't need them around us.
Correct.
We want Kenyans to be free. No.
Sleep in your house. All right.
Don't pick a small item and trivialize a serious matter that the president is addressing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the president means well.
Okay, let's take a look at what we have. And Mheshimiwa Mudenyo here is a direct beneficiary, or as well as even a victim of Mumias sugar. The entire region has suffered. Talk of Mumias, talk of many sugar belt. The western region is a sugar belt. So we'll take a look at that. Now, on the front page of the Standard newspaper, take back the death threats, leaders tell Ruto. That's as well as what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Now, President asks leaders and civil rights activists with his remarks to sugar investors, telling some that they will either leave the country or he will jail them or escort them to their maker. That's on the story of page 2. You have got Stuart Mazaya there, quoted, as well as Eric Theuri, who is the LSK president. Story continues on page 2 there, asking the president to take back his word as far as that is concerned. And finally, on the front page of the Star newspaper, before we get into details, why Ruto forays threatened Raila's political bastions. Ruto has been on a 5-day charm offensive in Western region, and now Odinga troops claim that president has begun 2027 campaign. Is it? Mheshimiwa Mudenyo.
Probably let me pick up where my friend Mheshimiwa Sossion has left off. The sugar sector, the sugar issue is a very unfortunate story. And for many years...
But you agree that something has to be done?
It has to be done.
Okay.
It's an unfortunate story. It's long overdue. Unfortunately, as he has put it, it has been used as a campaign tool, as a campaign agenda. Every year, every election year, every president who comes in, every minister who is appointed to that docket always trivializes the sugar issues. While in other places they write off dates in the coffee, for tea, for everything, when it comes to sugar cane farmers, they're treated as second-class citizens.
But even the president said that it's going to be written off, the sugar industry.
I mean, they have said so many years. At one time, he was a minister of agriculture during the Nusumukate government. He saw the sugar sector the way it was. He treated it the way he treated it. He was a beneficiary of the cartels. He left it there. He came in as a deputy president. He has done nothing. They kept on coming and lying to people of Western Kenya that they will sort out the sugar industry. Nothing. They have come again. All that is doing now, they want to replace the cartels. You know, here in this country, we have the forest. What changes are the monkeys. The new monkeys have come in. They want to replace the monkeys that were in the forest, so they become beneficiary. It's all that about business interest, is not about the farmers of Western Kenya. We have sung all the years that we surely need to rectify the situation in the sugar industry. Nobody has listened. And as Sossion has said it, many of the politicians around that area, Mumias area, and there have been beneficiaries of these sugar cartels. Even his colleague who purported almost being appointed to be CAS, some of them are people who have brought down Mumia sugar, who have looted Mumia sugar all the years. So essentially, it's just PR. There's nothing to it.
But apart from
I can assure you.
When you look at the crystal ball, Mheshimiwa, at the end of the day, you come from that region. Some of us just toured that region because of a reason or two. But when you look at the entire ecosystem around Mumias Sugar, just an example, it's in deplorable state.
Very bad. In fact, sugarcane farmers are the most impoverished people in this country, are the most people who suffer the most. All that they are used for is political rhetoric. Next year, somebody else will come. The other year, somebody else will come. The other year, somebody else will come. The cartels will keep on changing. They will do this and this. Last time, the last parliament, Mheshimiwa Munyinyi brought an amendment, a new sugar bill. We debated in the National Assembly. When it went to the Senate, these guys of Kenya Kwisha, who are in the Senate, Kenya Kwanza, right, went and killed it completely. We have now again reintroduced it. The kind of fight we are being subjected to, the kind of resistance we are being subjected to, is such an extent, we wonder even if that bill will ever see the light of the day.
What was the bill all about?
The bill was about to introduce the Sugar Board. Initially, remember, before the Crop Act, before we formed AFA, we used to have the Sugar Board that used to manage the sugar issues. Sugar cane issues and the sugar issues all together. But when we brought in AFA, I think 2009, we killed the Sugar Board. When you kill the Sugar Board, we now left the regulations and management of the sugar sector to a cartel that surrounds a certain category of people. And this cartel are the ones who, first of all, imported, remember, the sugar called mercury sugar. The same cartel that imported the sugar that was condemned, that found its way in a warehouse in Thika, that was stolen overnight, and there was KRA seals on the go down. It's the same cartel. So we are replacing one cartel with another. And you know very well, the sugar that was stolen, that is now back, it has found its way into the market, was stolen in a go down in Thika. And there was KRA seals on that go down.
Okay.
And the police know who stole the sugar.
Okay.
And everybody knows who has the sugar. And that sugar was stolen by politicians and members who hold very serious big positions in the Kenya Kwanza government.
We can't authenticate.
But you know, it needs to substantiate, Victor. You cannot say being held by Kenya Kwanza leaders. He needs to substantiate. You cannot come on a national TV and start claiming that colleagues from our coalition are the cartels.
Yeah, that's something.
If Mheshimiwa has that, he needs to substantiate or withdraw from that particular statement.
We can't authenticate.
Yes.
Fine. For now, let me put it on hold there. But there's already, as we said, there's already an investigation.
Let's take a break.
Parliament is also investigating.
Yes.
The details will come out very soon.
Let's take a break. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we want to talk about the sugar issue. It's so sweet, at the same time it's so sour. We need this issue to be sorted once and for all. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back. I have Wilson Sossion, Tabitha Mutinda, Senator here, and the Member of Parliament, Funyula constituency, Wilberforce, Mudenyo. Senator Tabitha, it was your turn as before we took a break. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Victor. And you see, I pick it up from where Mheshimiwa just left it. Listening to him talk about the issues of cartels, and I told him he's out of order when he says cartels in Kenya Kwanza, and as a leader, it's so very saddening because I expect him as a leader of the Western region to be able to look at it from the strategy of us as Kenya Kwanza on how we are coming out and focusing on national developments, not looking at where we got support only, but cutting across. The sugar business, the sugar industry is an industry that has had challenges. We've had Moi's time, we've had Kibaki's time, Uhuru's time. It is only Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto who has boldly come out. He's one of the bold presidents we have in this regime. Come out and faced on the cartels in place. the reason being that his focus is on how to ensure that the local farmer, is supported. Because you remember in our manifesto, it's about bottom up, looking at empowering the local farmer. And he has come out and said that they're going to deal with the cartels that are in place, so to ensure we maximize the productivity, as Mheshimiwa Sossion has even talked about in terms of the metric tons that needs to be increased. So I expect the leaders from the opposition side to be able to look at how do they also in their local regions be able to ensure that these farmers are completely empowered and they are off the hands of the cartels. If a president comes out with that particular support, we expect they should be backing it, not trying to trivialize a statement, one single statement of the Evan issue. And I've said clearly, then who has the roadmap for Evan? So they should be able to see, how do we help these farmers grow? And I'm happy because I have a bill, agricultural livestock extension, a bill which will be able to look at the different cash crops that we have this country, such that we remove brokers from the way and be able to ensure that our local farmers can be able to put their product into the market, make the maximum profits that they need to be able to make. We are the drivers, we are the force. And if the president has led by example, by locally being in this particular region, we expect even our colleagues on the opposition to be able, for the sake of their local farmers, whom during their campaigns they keep on telling them they are going to support them. I've heard Mheshimiwa saying that, this has just been a narrative, this has just been a campaign tool. And as we are factual, the president is factual. The president is on the ground, dealing with these particular issues. No one has ever even brought boldly to light these particular business people. And we know very well they've been supporting the Azimio regime during this particular recent elections. And that's why they're so disappointed and they were shocked, because you can look at the cartels who have been supporting them, knowing that they are going to come and continue with the way they've been doing things. But we say that is not how we want to do things. We need maximum profitability for our local farmers, maximum empowerment. We expect the local leaders from the opposition to be able to come out and also support their people. And this is the time they should also realize that these leaders that they keep on having them and thinking that they are going to be with them on the developments that they elect them for, then it's the high time to see the truth of the matter. They are not with them. They are not focusing on it. We are not really seeing them. It's actually our leaders who are on the ground supporting the president. So if they don't want then developments, then what do they want? Because our focus is going to be development. You know very well, you've asked in terms of is it a campaign tool? What is it, and all that. And I want to say, I want to say, Victor, what you need to understand is that Moi was able to, trying to manage politics, the economy of it. Kibaki really managed the economy very well. But politics, he was really not able to manage. Uhuru came in, he was not able to manage politics, nor able to manage the economy. Then we have William Samoei Ruto, who's an experienced from the time of Moi, who has the firmness and the strategies of Moi, and who has a political energy like Raila Amolo Odinga. So combining his personality on that perspective, William Ruto is able, the president is able to manage politics very well and also manage the economy of this country. And that's why he's able to boldly move in. We saw him in Sagana a few weeks ago. And now we are seeing him in Western region, and boldly focusing on developments. If able to meet the cabinet ministers in any region of this country, focusing on the development of those particular regions. So they should know now that Azimio, they should know, and or the opposition should know that this is not just a president just generally trying to analyze him, thinking that we're just going to come in and do handshakes and things continue. No, we finished matters in August 9th. We finished that when people went for elections. Right now, what we are focusing on as a government is on the developments, on what we promised Kenyans from each and every corner of this country, all the 47 counties. That's what we are focusing on. So what I'm trying to urge my brothers, this issue of trying to keep on focusing, this is a song, we've seen this, at least during the issue of the cartel, the sugar that the people were arrested, we came out And we accept and say, yes, this is happening. We us as Kenya Kwanza, we are accepting and say, yes, this is happening. Because as leaders have also said, can you be able to accept the situation so that you can be able to put a solution, right, because you are able to identify and see that this is where the problem is. But they do not want to see where the problem is. They want to keep on covering and thinking that we are doing the same things the way they've always been doing, thinking that we're going to get the same results.
He's time to answer that. If he's about them in Kenya, in Azimio, or leaders from that region, their work is to cover it up. Mheshimiwa Sossion, it's all about policy to completely make a complete turnaround in that industry.
Yes, I think what we are discussing is not an agenda of Kenya Kwanza or an agenda of Azimio. We are discussing a very, very serious matter.
Absolutely.
Revival of the sugar industry in Kenya. And that falls well within the court of the president as the president of the Republic of Kenya. And is not beginning to think about it in Western. Prior to election, the president signed a charter, a development charter with all the 47 counties, touching on the different areas, and including establishment of industrial and aggregation zones in every county. And so this is not a new thing. And the bottom-up economic transformation agenda really prioritizes farmers and agriculture as a big item. Among the 5 pillars, pillar number 1 is transformation of agriculture. And it's not just transformation of agriculture, it's real investment, pushing resources and realigning farming so that it becomes a number 1 production sector that produces food to satisfy the local market and also to export. And Mheshimiwa here should appreciate that Kenya Kwanza is not about rhetorics. We talk of reducing fertilizers, the prices from 7,000 to 3,500. That has been done. Yeah. And now registration of farmers and is going to be reduced further. And as a parliamentarian, in the finance bill, the tax waiver on raw materials to manufacture fertilizers locally and farm inputs is going to see the farm inputs reduced further, and that is going to help farmers. But on the sugar industry, I think the president is extremely genuine. And this is what he promised Kenya. And what he promised, what we know about the president, I've worked with all the presidents. I worked closely with Moi, with Kibaki, and with Uhuru, and I think what the senator has described about them is true. The president, the current president, combines both meticulous political experience and deep knowledge in understanding the economy and good governance. Now, with the sugar industry, what is so wrong if we think out of the box? If now we are producing 400 metric tons, the national requirement is 1,200 metric tons. What is wrong if we help the farmers to produce even up to 2,000 metric tons and we can export sugar to our neighbors with ease? It is possible for Kenya to export sugar to several other parts of Africa. And we cannot do that before you revive and restore the current sugar belts and assure the farmers in those sugar belts. It is wrong. It is now time we stop telling them stories. There was a time money was put in pan paper factory, but the expatriate who bought the pan paper factory used it to package imported sugar. Correct. Yeah. What we are seeing in Mumias is not about revival of Mumias, but whoever are purporting to revive Mumias are importing their own sugar from outside and packaging. So this is very immoral and it's very colonial. It's worse than colonialism. Yeah. And that's why when the president said, you will go to jail, he will leave the country or go to heaven, he meant it. And let me say, in fact, these are criminals that don't need to be given any space to breathe in this country if they are destroying the livelihoods of farmers. But let me come back to the production and expansion. After protecting the farmers and reviving the factories in the current sugar belts, the sugar farming can be expanded to other parts of the country. We've seen parts of Rift Valley beginning to take up sugar farming. We had irrigation
even in
farming. Yes.
Yeah, even the
oh, yes, there's nothing wrong. Let's open up everywhere in the country where sugar can be grown. Let us be an orderly country and revive the production sector of the economy. That is what the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza is all about. That in the past, we've put in a lot of money in the capital sector of the economy, and the capital sector doesn't grow the economy. The production sector of the economy does, the manufacturing, value addition, and promotion of agriculture, and adding value to goods. Why can't we add value to our tea and sell it so that the ordinary farmer can sell tea at 300 shillings per kilo? Why can't we add value to our coffee? And I think focusing on the sugar belt is almost the entire Nyanza and Western. Those are citizens of Kenya.
Let me ask you,
and they must be assisted to reverse the current state of events. And I want to plead with members of parliament from those sugar belts, regardless of their political affiliation. There comes a time when the nation is more important than the political affiliation that we have. Support the agenda of the president. And the president has demonstrated that he's a man on a mission to change this narrative, this ISO narrative that has lived with us for long.
Right.
Can it be removed once and for all? And we see working sugar industry and our farmers living decently and earning from sugar industry.
Mheshimiwa Mudenyo, why is this sugar issue so sour in our tongues, in our mouths? We need to taste it. It has to be so sweet to an extent that Rai was kidnapped. Okay, for allegedly because of a reason or two. Investigation is still going on. Being the reason, think that the president has to talk about it. But as leaders from the Western region, we've given an example. We have got Mumias, we have got Kibos, we have got Awendo, we have got Tramisi in the coast. But why Mumias? That's my concern.
As I've said earlier, it's not about the sugarcane farmers. It's about our typical political posturing. I can tell you many sugarcane factories in Western Kenya have now closed. Where I come from, Busia, we have a private sugar company in Busia called Busia Sugar Company. It has closed.
Was it a privately owned?
It's a privately owned company.
Okay.
It has closed because of inadequate sugarcane supply. The focus...
And this sugar was coming from the region?
Just within the region, within Busia area. The focus, as I've always said, and as my colleagues agree, the focus should be on the sugarcane farmer.
And what are the policies to support this?
The policy to support this, number one, is extension services. And I'm happy that Senator has proposed a bill because extension services now devolve function. The focus should be on the sugarcane farmer. The focus should be research to find a variety that matures much faster, to find a variety that has got high sucrose content, to find a variety that can withstand typical cases of fire and arson. We need to find a way to improve the infrastructure in the sugarcane growing areas, so that transportation of sugarcane from the farmers to the factory does not take ages. We must find a pricing mechanism that ensures the sugarcane farmer gets value for his labor. We must find a mechanism to ensure that whoever is a miller, also being a businessman, makes profits and is able to run the factory throughout so that he can maximize his investment in the milling factory. That's the kind of discussion we need to have. That's the kind of narrative, that's the kind of story we people of Western want to hear. But to keep on every year, every election cycle, coming back and telling us we'll revive Mumias, we'll revive Nzoia, we'll revive Okwichuan, it's now becoming a tired story. As my Governor Tuoma said the other day, we can't keep on talking about Mumias. Since 1930s, we can't keep on talking about Mumias. Reviving Mumias, reviving Mumias. Mumias has been collapsing since the days when Governor Kideru was in charge. How many years are those? And these guys who are talking about it have been in government all along. That's why we are feeling We are being misused. We are being used here to lure people. We are being used. We need concrete actions. We need concrete steps. We need Kenya Sugar Research Institute to be given enough resources to undertake research. We need the county governments to be given enough resources so they can invest in extension services. We need support. We need plant and machinery to plow the farms. We need sugar varieties that within 8 months that have matured, we are paying farmers so they can pay school fees for their children. That's the kind of discussion we want to talk about. This issue of dispatching people to heaven or to hell or deporting them out of the country is really a distraction. Yeah. It's a distraction from the real issue. And we find we will take it as it is and give whoever has said this the benefit of doubt. But I can assure you, Victor, today started August, the year of our Lord 2023. We might come here again next year, August, and we'll see there has been no change in the state of sugarcane farmers in Western Kenya. That sounds more of a hard nut to crack, because when you say that come next year, August, 1 year down the line, we'll see no change. That means it's a deep-rooted kind of a problem that, as leaders from that region, whenever you sit down as a caucus, and you face and you pinpoint some of these issues that have really affect the sugar belt in that industry, that the president has to come out and talk tough the way he talked yesterday. What are some of the pointers in 20 seconds? What are some of the pointers that you think that should be done, apart from calling names and litany of court cases that's now dragging the cases of the sugar industry in that region? What are some of the cases that you point out? It's so simple as I've said. Yes. Let the farmers, give the farmers the incentives to grow sugarcane. Okay. Set a pricing mechanism that will allow them to reap the benefits of their labor. Put some pricing subsidy or guaranteed minimum prices they can get for their sugarcane upon delivery. What about the privatization? Now, for me, I believe government has got no business doing business. Government has got no business doing business. Government should only set conducive environment. Yes. Let the private sector run business. Mheshimiwa Mutinda, you have a bill, and that bill, from what Mheshimiwa Mudenyo is talking about, it means that you have a lot of amendments to do in that bill, so that some of these issues are also capsuled in there.
Let me appreciate that he really also appreciates the bill, and I believe when it comes to their side, the National Assembly, they are maximally going to support, because it's a bill that cuts across at a national level. I've listened to him, and he's done some pointers ranging from the research issues, digitalization, we have the training issues, and all these are captured in the bill, very, very well captured in the bill. And this is a bill that, since agriculture is devolved, is going to be very much impactful as far as extension officers. And I appreciate that he's able to see it in that particular perspective. It's very positive. And I want to say is really mentioned about the support for the farmers. And I want to say that support starts by the leader of this country going to the ground, because that's how Dr. William operates. He goes specifically to where the issue is. He faces things head on. He understands from a practical, physical point of looking at things and sitting with the local leaders. Key point, local leaders, because they are the ones who have a real touch of the particular environment. And remember, like for any business to thrive in any country, we have to look at the political element, you know. We have to look at the economy, the social factor, technological element, the labor issues and all that. And you find that these regions are very conducive for this particular commodity, that is the sugar cane. And when the president really comes out and talks about the cartels, and to be much more specific, the sugar baron, that is Mr. Rai, what I want to tell Mheshimiwa is that no other president has been bold enough as Ruto is, and is going to still continue. He has not just been locally in this country of ours, but also internationally. He has boldly stood out and said, you know, as head of state, we cannot just be called to international trips as head of state, and one person just lectures us, we are put in bus. He's the only one who has boldly. So if he's doing it internationally, even locally here, he's going to do it. So they need to get used to that, but to also understand then why is he doing it. It is a high time we expect, as colleagues on this other side, that they should, for Christ's sake, for the sake of the local mwananchi, because as I always say, this is our beautiful country. This is our home. It is us as leaders to make this home. Okay. We as politicians also try to make things become too dirty where it's not necessary. If we would focus, and Mheshimiwa has made some good pointers and said that in terms of the machineries, in terms of the right, the subsidies, but I want to tell him, fertilizer is now retailing at 2,500 because of our efforts as the focus and in terms of what we'd promised Kenyans, because we know when the fertilizer prices are lowered, then we ensure that the farmer is able to have affordability of the basic commodities that are needed. These farmers have the land, they have the experience, as I've said, the market had been there. And you know very well, Rai had marshaled all the local farmers to be able to give him the basic commodity, the sugar cane, to himself alone. Then what happens to the other local factory? They'll end up closing because now it becomes a total monopoly, and it affects. And when the president stands up, one thing I should be expecting, they should just move away from this particular narrative. And that's how Azimio have really tried to thrive on small words and trying to expound on them instead of just narrowing and focusing on how many farmers. You know, how do we revive? How many industries have been closed, and what do we do so as to be able to revive and work with the manifesto that we have, work with the strategy that we have, and through that we are all going to win. We need to export actually sugar. We need to increase value for the commodity. So it is a high time. And I want to add, they've really tried to focus on issues of course, maandamano, issues of bipartisan talks. Look at where we are. We finished elections, but we are still on the second phase of these talks. For what? Is it for individual gains or for the local mwananchi? It is the high time, for Christ's sake. They should be so grateful. And I want to urge my brother, if as early as tomorrow, they have actually on recess, if you could just go down and meet with the president and interact with the other local leaders and be able to mention and give a list and say, I have been able to give this list of all the closed factories in our regions. How can we be able to revive them? And the president will be able to be happy to receive that.
Mheshimiwa Sossion, is it politics? Some people say that the president is out there. Instead of, there's a very thin line between development and politics. So, what is it, as far as this is concerned?
You think the president is doing politics when he has just been elected and he has 5 solid years to work? Yeah. I think some people are misreading the president. And those who have not understood the president will come to regret far much later for jumping into wrong conclusions. Right. You see, by asserting that all these things is politics, we are not going for elections this year. We are not going for elections next year. And I don't think President William Ruto is after election. He is after implementing the plan and what he promised Kenyans. And as I said, he signed charters with every county. He signed charters with Vihiga County. He signed a charter with Kakamega County, Busia County, Bungoma County. He did sign the charter, and the charters are clear. And one thing I know with the president, he sticks to the script. What he promised, he will do it. Mheshimiwa, you can confirm. The cotton farmers in Busia, they're receiving BT cotton seeds. Those are part of the strategies. And what Mheshimiwa has talked about, strengthening the extension services at the county is important for every aspect of agriculture, whether it's dairy, whether it's sugarcane, that must be strengthened across the county. Strengthening research. Yes, we have got a strong tea research institute here in Kenya, coffee research, and having sugarcane research is a welcomed idea that is going to expand the industry. I think we ought to be positive. If it is politics, I'll say yes, politics of development, what the president promised. The plan of the president
You've just got the two words, development tour and politics.
The plan which the people of Kenya voted for on 9th of August is implementable and tenable for the next 5 years. And is to be superintended by the president. He's not going to superintend it from State House. By sitting with the people of Bungoma, he has been able to focus and address the matters that are contained in the charter. By sitting with the people of Bungoma, the same, Kakamega the same, Vihiga and Busia, he has done it. And so trying to trivialize the activities of the president as cheap politics, I think is fundamentally wrong.
Allow me to ask you this question,
yes.
sir. You know, the president is like a king, and as a king you have your subjects and you have your lieutenants. So why not delegate the duties to the minister, the cabinet secretaries, to do all this? So what is the role of the ministers if the president is...
What is the role of the president? The president the president. I'm answering you.
Yes.
I'm answering you.
Yes.
Yes, I'm answering you. Let's understand how our governance systems work. Let us understand how our governance systems work.
Correct.
The minister is the minister for the time being in that minister, superintending the ministry and advising the president.
Yes.
It is not written in the Constitution that the president will be confined to be a slave in State House, so that the minister, the moment he was sworn in,
what if it was delegated to Mythical Intui to handle it and hand over the report to the president to handle?
No, let's not discuss governance here and how the president would like to govern. If the president has visited the people who voted for him and to directly address the matters of development accompanied by the ministers, and is able to direct the ministers at that point to execute, the president is the head of state of the Republic of Kenya. And so this is not trivial politics. It is serious politics of development. But before you leave, this drama of ride that we have seen.
No, Frank. Let's hold that. Just hold that.
That was stage managed to garner some sympathy and trigger the politics that we are seeing. That is the front line and the rest. So you are not going to trivialize it. The words of the
now let's say, to be honest, I have no problem at all with the president going to visit various parts of the country.
Meet the farmers.
And meet wherever he wants to meet. But first of all, and he has clearly alluded to it, that Kenya Kwanza government signed some kind of a memorandum with the various counties.
Not some kind.
Serious.
And
economic charter.
They set the economic charter. They set out the projects to be implemented.
Yes.
Actually, I would expect that when 1 year down the line, when he comes to Western Kenya, when he comes to Busia, he would say, we signed to do X, Y, Z. This is my scorecard.
Yes.
Honestly speaking, nothing of such a sort happened in Busia. Nothing. Whatever he promised he will do, 1 year down the line, zero.
Victor.
All he came to do was to launch a small project that was started during Kibaki's days, but then stalled because of water rising at the lake. A project of 130 million that has been going on, I think, from 2010. You come with 7 helicopters. You come with the entire government functionary. You would find probably the cost of coming to Busia alone is close to 100 million. You are coming to launch a project of 130 million. Is that value for money? We really want him to come and tell us, we signed a charter with you. This is what I have done. This is what is pending. I'll do X, Y, Z the following year. So far, nothing. Just tell me. In all the charters he signed, give us a scorecard, 1 year the line. Even as an elected MP, member of parliament, my people are now starting to ask me, you told us you'll do X, Y, Z. Give us what you have done. And I'm able to account what I have done. In 1 year,
Victor,
I've been a member of parliament. Tell us. That's what I'm asking them. Tell us.
Victor.
I'm going to treat that as your closing remark.
Tell us.
See my director here.
Tell us.
Tell us.
Yes.
Allow us to say this, Victor, and it is very sad. It is very sad in this state where leaders are elected by people that they need to represent, and they do not even want to embrace development. For Christ's sake, how many presidents have you seen going to meet with the local mwananchi, the farmers? As we speak right now, we should know, Mheshimiwa should know how we got that economic charter.
Okay.
We got by going to the people during our campaigns and asking them, what are your issues? And it's at this particular time we have a program that the president has gone to the ground and is addressing those issues. And when he's trying to address, there's so much negativity from the opposition. Number two, we already have a scorecard as Kenya Kwanza. We have issues that we've been able to achieve as Kenya Kwanza. One of those issues is the issue of the fertilizer issue, which is going to be more impactful on the agriculture sector. We've been able to issue Hustler Fund as we speak right now. So they do not even know where we are, because whatever we've been able to do cuts across this particular nation. So I need to see Mheshimiwa going to the ground as early as this particular day, this day, and being able to meet with the president and giving him all the closed factories, so that we see that he's really supporting the farmers. Hii maneno ya maandamano, they need to stop. Hii maneno ya bipartisan, they need to stop, Victor. They need to stop.
Sorry, I'm surprised that they don't know which factories are closed.
You need to give that list to the president if you really are supporting your local farmers.
The assistant chief
Thank you
knows.
so much, representing the great people of Funyula, Tabitha Mutinda, Senator. Thank you so much, and we are looking towards that bill. We are looking forward to have that bill once it's
thank you. Yeah,
the Senate.
Sure.
Please give us more update on that, and Mheshimiwa Sossion. There is something that I really want to talk about, but kindly, because of time,
my last remarks, even because of time, because you've invited us, don't be so mean with time when you've also sacrificed time.
It's time. If we look around the studio here, you can see the number of
very last one. These are facts of information.
Facts of information.
Facts of information.
Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds. Kindly.
Yes, give me 10 seconds.
Kindly.
That is asking for the scorecard 1 year down the line. The Finance Act 2023 is the first Finance Act that is going to finance the program of Kenya Kwanza. Wait for next year. And then we've seen the food production in the country is one indicator. It's one of the greatest, and the cost of living is coming down. The economy is stabilizing. Those are facts. I want to assure sugar farmers that they must rally their support around the president so that we can kick cartels out of this country and bring the economy back to them.
Thank you.
And within 24 months,
Thank you,
sugar industry will be vibrant in this country.
Thank you so much.
Members of Parliament from those belts,
Thank you.
can
Director,
you change your strategy?
I think there's a time for us to wrap it up. Next week, we'll talk about the issue of the teachers. Mheshimiwa Sossion, you'll be back in studio. Teachers are happy a lot right now. Something close to your heart. Is it? Thank you so much for watching. Asante sana.